Hello, Nick. So we're gonna jump into the Battle of Dego. This is a day of battle, no approach. Um, uh, I think what I'm going to do, give a little history of it. I think I'm going to read the excerpt from the scenario, and then I'll give a little bit of extra interpretation from Chandler, Campaigns of Napoleon, and Martin Boycott Brown, Road to Rivoli. As little as best as I can, which won't be that great, but you know, see what I can do here to try to add a little bit more to things. Give you a little view of the battlefield here, a little bit. So this was the Battle of Dego. Coalition forces are divided. 15th of April, 1796. So Augereau was sent west, which was that way, against the Piedmontese to converge with Serrier's advance from Ormia. Massena and La Harpe were ordered north up the Bormida Valley, which this is the Bormida River here, to attack Dego, where the coalition garrison of 4,000 men held strong posts on the east bank of the Bormida River. Massena fixed the garrison with a frontal attack while extending his right along the high ground to the east. La Harpe came up the west bank and crossed below Dego. The Austrians and Piedmontese were eventually forced out, losing 350 casualties and at least 1,500 prisoners. The victorious French then scattered to take shelter from the rain. So this was after Montenotte, what was going on. In this time, they weren't scattered just to take shelter from the rain, but if you recall, when Napoleon took over the army of Italy, they were in rough shape, hungry, starving for supplies, and such. So after they sacked, after the Battle of Dego, they kind of scattered to the four winds to do some looting and trying to do their own kind of resupply. So we continue here with the narrative. At daybreak of the 15th of April, Vukasovich's 3,500 fresh Austrians, which so right here is where Vukasovich is going to start. They attacked the disorganized French and completely routed them. At 4 p.m., the French counterattacked, thrown back 3 times. Menard worked his way around the Austrian left, and a fourth assault broke into the town. So that's the description of the scenario. If I turn to Chandler just for a little taste here, so let's see where would be a good place to start. So they've taken over Dego, and let's see. So leaving Massena to occupy Dego, Bonaparte retraced his steps to the west with La Harpe, hoping to meet Serrier's division near the town of Sèvres. All was not well, however, on the exposed French right flank. Exhilarated by the morning's success, Massena's men typically scattered in search of food and plunder, and in this unfortunate situation was surprised by 5 Austrian battalions under General Vukasovich in the early mornings of the next morning. The unexpected arrival of this force was completely fortuitous. Vukasovich had received an order from Belleau, I don't know, pronunciation, dated the 14th, ordering him to move on Dego tomorrow. The letter had in fact been dictated late on the 13th, and it was the commander-in-chief's intention that Vukasovich should intervene in the following day's battle, but the error in the dating accounted for his subordinate's appearance at Dego on the 15th. In any case, the effect was catastrophic for the French troops in the vicinity. By one account, probably malicious, Massena himself had a narrow escape from the bed of an amoureuse, being forced to flee in his nightshirt, but it is certain that his men were routed, losing all their guns. Vukasovich intelligently seized the opportunity offered by his success and promptly put the village into a state of defense. So there we have kind of a alluding to Massena, a bit of indiscretion, not paying attention. So now let's turn to the road to Rivoli, Napoleon's first campaign from Martin Boycott Brown. And let's see, where does he address that? Oh man, where was it? It was very good. If I can find it. Okay, here we go. So Massena, who was at Cairo, not sure how that would be pronounced, which is right here, El Cairo. Put it over here. So kind of odd that in Chandler, and he admits it's probably malicious, makes it sound like Massena was in Dego and had to escape by the skin of his chinny chin chin. But here he's in Cairo, some two miles distant, had heard the sound of firing and arrived at the gallop at Rochetta, which is Rochetta, Cairo, at about 11 a.m. with Monnier, one of his staff. The Austrian attack was now 4 hours old, and it might legitimately be asked why it had taken Massena so long to go and see what was happening. Some have suggested that he was with a woman, and others that he was engaged in looting, but neither of these really explains a delay of 4 hours. Massena was both a womanizer and a rapacious plunderer, but he was also a first-class general at the peak of his powers, and too much of a soldier not to run to the sound of a serious fight. A more likely explanation is that the seriousness of the Austrian attack was underestimated by everyone at first. After all, as we have heard, there was little enough firing to begin with, and the fog would have blanketed sound as well as making it difficult to see what was happening any distance away. The final French collapse was fairly sudden when it came at about 10 a.m., and it may be that Massena only became aware that a major attack was in progress, rather than skirmishes, a short time before he arrived at Cairo. An even simpler explanation is that he may have been elsewhere on one of his habitual reconnaissances or inspections. Whatever the reason for his absence, Massena did not delay in trying to rectify matters. He saw that it would be impossible to rally the troops close to the enemy and ordered the officers to guide the troops to Il Coleto. Having rallied them, he assembled them where they had formed for their attack just 24 hours earlier. They were back to square one. So, there you go. I found that pretty interesting. I'm just kind of skimming at the moment from the Road to Rivoli book, but I want to go back and I want to read that whole thing. So here's the setup as per the setup card, both the one that came in the game and then the fancy version. So I think it's going to be tough though to recreate history here. Let me move you down. So Vukasovic here, strength of 6. They've got Cervoni, 1st Artillery, and Causet in Dego. So somehow he's got to take Dego to recreate history, and then then the counterattack comes. So we've got some interesting things here. So we've got 2 Fog of War cards that start the game in effect, 20 and 30. And if we look at those, card 20 is Massena's indiscretions. So there we're alluding to his womanizing. On the turn this card is played, reduce Massena's command rating to 0 and displace him to the town nearest the advance guard baggage, or if none, the baggage entry. So baggage trains, you can set them up on board within 7 hexes of one of their core. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's kind of where I've put the core. So since it's starting Massena there, originally I was going to have him, be put up here in Coretto, displaced there. But I think we're just going to have him in Cairo, since that was historically where he found himself. So he's going to start for this first turn. He's going to have no command range. So, and really with him there, there's no. I guess there's Rampon and Pigeon, who he could give command to. There's also some Leclerc from the 1st Cav and Victor from the 1st Corps, which I don't know exactly who would be considered in command of them. You know, last time I uh, I said they were kind of attached to the harp. Well, the clerk I did, but I think this time I'm just going to say no. So like Bonaparte will be able to give them commands, and maybe I'll allow Massena to. I think he can. I think by the rules he can. I'm not gonna, give a freebie that they just come for free with either LaHarpe or Massena putting them in command. So I'm gonna keep Massena there. You know, even though by rules you can change the leaders around. So then let's look at the and I don't know a huge impact. I mean, that seems like, if these guys can't get in command to start, then I mean, there'll be a turn back from getting up to Dego, which I think, like I said, I think it's going to be tough for the Austrians to take back Dego to force a counterattack. But we'll get into that a bit. I want to go over the other cards. So card 30 then is Foraging French are Surprised, which this goes along with how they were, out plundering and looting. Now, the French troops break up in search of supplies. One enemy officer of your choice refuses command, and the units of his formation may not move, even by initiative, for the next 3 turns. So I think it would make sense that probably LaHarpe is the one that is chosen, and that will make it so, the second advanced guard, these units, Cervoni, and up here, Don Martin. So these guys are all going to be 3 turns unable to move. Plus, we don't care about march order. During the same 3 turns, the final combat strength of all units in the formation after all terrain modifiers is reduced by 25%, rounding fractions down. So maybe that'll help with the Austrians taking back. That might. The only bad thing I see is, I mean, if Vukasovic to get into Dego's got to attack across that bridge, and those aren't the greatest of modifiers. Bonaparte is down here via the setup in Carré. I could move him, but I think I'm going to keep it historical because I think he was down there. This was kind of he had set up kind of a central spot for a reserve because over in the west, it stated, Augereau was over there trying to reduce, I can't remember what castle it was or town, but trying to put pressure on the Piedmontese. And so Napoleon kind of had a central spot here. So I'm just going to have him start there. I was going to have him start here, but like I said, I think I want to kind of, I'm almost kind of penalizing the French here, tying their hand behind their back a little bit. So I think their general. I mean, we'll see how these guys can hold out up here. Bonaparte's going to rush up, and that's going to be at least a possible turn delay. Get these guys going. I am allowed my my march order to start. Where does my? Oh, there we go. So I am going to give a march order to Menard to march to Dego. So that will be in effect to start. I'm actually surprised that the French are allowed that. Also, let's see. The scenario says that all the victory control hexes are in play. But I think I'm going to play it to where it doesn't make sense to me that we're going to care about Montenegrino and Montenonte Superiore. Could send a unit down there to secure those victory points, but I think I'm just going to ignore those. We're just going to go up here full Dego both sides and call these down here. I'm going to say they don't count for us. All right, so on to the coalition side. The Austrians and the Piedmontese. There's a couple Piedmontese. So this is where they have Argento in the setup. There's one Piedmontese unit up there, and then also the Piedmontese wagon. I don't feel like it makes sense to start the wagon over here because the Piedmontese supply source is off the board over here somewhere. So we'll have them come in there. There's a couple Piedmontese here. What we're going to do is we're going to have Argento start over here. Oops. If I can get him to cooperate. We're going to have him start over here. So he's got all of these people in command range, and we're giving him a march order to march to the Dego Bridge, the east side of it. So I think that'll be better. Otherwise, these guys are basically, I mean, I guess I could, because they kind of comprise a force. I might have been able to give them a march order, but I don't think so. So I think we're going to leave these guys to kind of fend for themselves. And anyways, I want to protect this supply source, and they can stay in supply. We're going to have the second corps supply wagon come in from here to make sure these guys are supplied on their march, so they'll be able to just go. We won't have to worry about command rolls since they're under march orders. So hopefully we can get them over fast. We'll try to, I don't know, we'll see how things go. Either we'll get them down here to try to attack Dego, but I'm a little worried just in case the French get, you know, a little advantageous and try to take our supply source there. So we'll see how that goes. We're each side is allowed roadblocks, so I kind of set it up with for the coalition, kind of with a knowledge of that supply source. We don't want them just coming down the roads easy to do it, though. You know, they could always bypass it a bit. And for the French down here, you know, kind of, you know, make it a little difficult if they're coming from that way and the other side of Dego. You can have roadblocks within two hexes of a unit, and they have to be, or no, within 2 hexes of a unit and at least 3 hexes away from that enemy unit. So these should be legally placed, and I think that's. I don't know if I really have anything else to go over. I don't think this will. I think we're going to be able to go through this good. I could roll some weather. So we are at the daybreak or 7 a.m. turn. So here is our chart for weather. Again, I think this should say 7 a.m. So we're going to subtract 1 from our die, and we actually only roll 1 die. So let's see what our starting weather is going to be. So it's going to be a 2, and what do you know? We're going to have fair weather. So that should go well for the Austrians. They should be able to jet over, and I think the Austrians start first in this scenario. First player, yeah, the coalition player. So that'll be interesting. We'll see what comes out of it, and yeah, looking forward to it. We've got so we've done that. So the 9 a.m. turns the next time for weather. Let's see, coalition's going to start. So the coalition is going to get some, let's see, 6103. That's not the greatest. Yeah, that's way over here. I mean, they'll be able to give them a march order, but they'll be way behind. The French are just going to get I think that's a reduced, oh no, that's just a kind of a lightweight unit. They're going to come in, let's see, 934. Holy crap. Way down here, they're going to come. And they could get a march order because they're coming on as a reinforcement. And then Lipthay 4701, that is going to be over here. So end of battle is at the 8 p.m. turn. Once that's over, and that's a dusk turn. So not much is going to happen then, unless you're right next to somebody. So I think the coalition's got their work cut out for them to try to push the French out initially, and the French have their work cut out for them trying to get their forces back into a semblance of coordination. So, all right, we'll get going here, and we'll talk to you later. For those of you who don't think that roadblocks are worth a damn, well, Batoni P got up here, 3-1 attack, rolled a 6, which is a shock. So roadblocks have an initiative of 3, which is the same, and they both rolled 3s, which add 1. And on the shock table, a 4 initiative attacker to 4 initiative defender is a 1R. Reduce 1 attacking and 1 defending unit. So Piedmont was already reduced, so he's eliminated he's permanently eliminated. But he took the roadblock with him for what it's worth. But wow, I kind of thought the coalition was having a good start, but that kind of blows. All right, we got the first 2 turns in the bank. Coalition was making some good progress. I mean, obviously there's they're under march order, so they're moving. These guys got initiative once of their own accord, failed last time, and then we've got the reinforcements coming on board for a turn. Now these guys up here were going good. Petone B, had made it all the way up there, attacked the roadblock, and boy, those stubborn little men of that roadblock took him out in shock combat, which was stunning. I think Salish and Rukavina, they might have succeeded once. I think maybe both times. I can't remember. No, actually, Rukavina. Oh, you know what? I don't think I moved. I didn't move Rukavina, or did I? Yeah, I think they succeeded and failed once, and then this Piedmontese unit succeeded once. The French, they're in position. Bonaparte, Massena was out for the first turn, and Bonaparte came up, and then initiatives were good. So Bonaparte was able to, I think, 3 out of the 4 units that had started in El Cairo got initiative on their own, moved up, and was perfectly positioned with Bonaparte to give them, he's allowed to give 3 units initiative besides his 3 commands he can give out to leaders. So he was able to keep them moving. Massena's going now with the straggler unit that failed its initiative on the first turn. But Bonaparte has sealed it off now. Vukasovic failed his initiative on turn 2, which if he would have got it, he would have been able to probably go 1, 2, 3. He would have been able to be in Verminano, which would have, I don't know if Bonaparte would have wanted to attack him, but now it's going to be tough for Vukasovic. If he does get initiative, if he moves up this way, he's stuck attacking Cervoni, who's in a improved position, which he doesn't want to do that. So most likely, he can come here. That's kind of boring, just throwing a cavalry screen away. Maybe he comes up and goes across here to attack them both. But they got some benefits of the town. Yeah, both of them. So I don't know. I think Vukasovic's initiative failure might have screwed the coalition's chance to cordon off Dego so they could try to take it. Menard has been coming along here with his march order into Dego, and the baggage train is set up because this is going to be a supply turn, so I'm pretty sure I've got that set up so everybody will be fine. And I think the Piedmontese over here are going to go probably out of supply. But other than that, the first card, Massena's Indiscretion, is done. We've got one more turn before La Harpe's people are back online. La Harpe, he succeeded and failed on initiative, so he's kind of he's still trying to make his way up to Dego. The way the way I read that, he refused to command the units of his formation may not move. I guess I took that he could still move himself. Maybe not. I don't know, but we'll see. I kind of maybe I'm kind of dumb. I forgot that the French in those formations are 25% reduced. Maybe I should have had Vukasovic just come in here and to go at Cervoni. Let's see, during the same after, so he would have been 9. I think what do improved positions do? Is that 1.5, I believe? Let's see. Oh, times 2. So he would have been 18, but then he would have been reduced by a quarter. I still think that's, yeah, that still would have been tough for Vukasovic. So I don't know. I think that still would have been a suicide attack if he would have attempted that. But there you go. We are in it. Let's see if there's a weather change here. 5. Let's see. It is the 9 a.m. turn. There's no mod. With a 5 at Dego, we're gonna get rain. Ooh, so things are gonna slow a bit. No, I guess not. I guess that doesn't affect movement. However, line of sight is pretty much totally blocked and artillery is reduced. So, all right, there you go. Laters.